It'll have his service number of 256265. Then it says Private G. L. Price, 28th Canadian Infantry.
George Price was the last Canadian killed, likely the last Commonwealth soldier killed during the war. The circumstances of his death are a bit unclear. He was serving with the 28th Battalion. They were one of the battalions that were thrusting into the German lines. They had received notice around 2 hours earlier, around 9 o'clock, that the armistice would come into effect at 11 o'clock. Their commanding officer basically told the soldiers to go to ground, to don't risk their lives. But George Price was leading a patrol, and he was at a canal, and for some reason he went across. He went across with a couple of comrades. Some say that in fact there was a young girl, a woman in one of the houses, a Belgian civilian who waved at him, and he waved back. And then he sort of rose from his position and ran across, perhaps to kiss her, perhaps to greet her, perhaps to be the first liberator. We're not sure, but what happened was that he took a sniper's bullet in the chest. One shot, he went to ground. His comrades pulled him back to safety. They worked on him, and he died at 10:58, 2 minutes before the armistice came into effect.
We have a good number of these medals in the collection, well over 1,300 medal sets from the First World War. But then when you're looking at a medal set that has such a unique story to it, it does make them quite special, in a sad way, but it does make them quite special.
Canada was a country of not yet 8 million. We lost 60,000 battlefield dead. This was a country that was dealing with tremendous grief and loss, and really spent decades trying to come to grips with the tragedy of the First World War. And even today, 100 years later, we are still trying to make sense of it, still trying to find meaning in it. And I think the Price medals help us to some degree to understand who these individual men were and the sacrifice that was made by this nation.